Hey everyone, we've got a new player of the week selection from the international matches over the past week. Let's have a look at who we've got. So as always, I'll start with the lowest rated. We've got Zelarayan from Moldova. This one, they've changed him to a wide left forward and a prolific winger. He's normally a hole player. He doesn't normally have that wide left forward position. So that's the first most noticeable change. Long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot. I don't think he's got all those skills on his base card. He's also got through passing and pinpoint crossing, so he's got some product. Decent pace, decent balance. Stamina's not the best. And down there, defensive awareness is all right. Fairly tidy on the ball, not brilliant. I mean, dribbling's good, but that tight possession, a bit of a concern. Then low pass 82 could be better. This is a 4-star card, so we can't expect too much of him. 77 finishing. 83 curls, so his long range curlers could be decent. I'm not sure where's best to play this guy. AMF or wide left, maybe. He's fairly versatile. Like I say, he's not too weak in any area. He's got a bit of everything. He just doesn't really excel anywhere, but he's a 4-star card. 172 centimeters, so a fairly low center of gravity. Could be quite fun to use. His base card is quite decent. In strong squads, when you're playing divisions and so on, probably not going to be strong enough for you. But if you like picking up players who are a little bit different, maybe it'll be a fun one for you. Like I say, he's got some ability, he's got some end product. Just he's a 4-star card, so he's pretty much what you'd expect for a 4-star. Then the other 4-star, we've got Under, Turkish winger. They've made him an attacking midfielder. Normally doesn't have attacking midfielder as a position, and they made him a whole player as well. So the thing is with that is that he doesn't have one-touch pass. He doesn't have through passing, two crucial skills to play in that position. So straight away, I'm not sure he's really best played in that position, especially when you look over here at 75 for low pass. He's not really suited to playing that position, even if he played there, and even if they've made this card an AMF hole player. I think you're going to be looking to play this guy in his normal positions of wide right or wide left. He has long range shooting, long range curler, first time shot, pinpoint crossing, and you look over here, 81 lofted pass, 83 curl, and high kicking power as well. He's got a good cross on him. Not an outstanding one with only 81 for lofted pass, but it's going to be decent. And then you look at that, 78 for finishing. Pretty good on the ball. His dribbling and control. And then great pace. Balance is decent. Wide right or wide left. I think this guy could be pretty effective. He's definitely an upgrade on how good his base card gets. Yeah, I think he could be pretty effective. He might only be a 4-star, but with that pace, the fact he's pretty good on the ball, and the fact he's got some crossing and some finishing on him, I think you could disregard the fact he's only a 4-star card. This guy could be pretty effective. And next we have Munoz. Don't know much about this guy in real life, but he's an interesting one. He's a 5-star card. He's got unwavering form. That's useful for the next couple of months with the season being over. So yeah, 5-star card. I'm not sure I would consider this guy a 5-star player, though. I don't think he's quite that good. You look at his positions: defensive mid, centre back, or left back, right back. One thing to note with this guy, he's right-footed. They've got him down as a left back, but he's right-footed, and his weaker foot is not strong. So I don't think you're going to want to play this guy as a left back. I think you're going to want to play this guy as a right back if you're playing as a fullback. As a centre back, the first thing I look at, defensive awareness 79, that's not high enough. Especially if this guy's a 5-star card, that's not high. I would not want to risk playing this guy as a centre back. Defensive midfield, I'll look straight over to the left-hand side. He's poor on the ball. His passing is not brilliant. It could be worse, but ball control, dribbling, type possession, he is lacking there. So I think you're probably going to get found out if you're playing as a defensive midfielder, especially without one-touch pass as a skill. So then you come back to fullback, I think. Like I say, bearing in mind he's not got a strong left foot, you're looking at right back as his position. I think that's where you're going to find he's most effective. He's got pretty decent pace. Physical contact and balance aren't great, but they're not the worst. Pretty good stamina for a fullback. Defensively, that 79 still a bit of a concern, but less so as a fullback. And the rest of his defensive stats are decent, especially defensive engagement 93. That's fantastic. Again, that's the one real weakness on the ball. You've got to be very careful when you're in possession with this guy because he's not got great technique. And again, passing's not brilliant either, although it's not the big concern. The big concern is when he's in control of the ball. But if you're mindful of that, and then you look over at his skills over on the right here, heading, I mean, you can ignore acrobatic finishing, first time shot. They're not going to matter too much, especially as a defensive fullback. He's not going to get forward very much, but interception, blocker, sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. Got a good selection of skills for a fullback. So, like I say, he's got some weaknesses there, especially on the ball, but he's got some strengths as well. So he could be a useful defensive fullback if you like your fullbacks to be defensive and you don't want to ask anything of them going forward, then he could be an effective one for you. But he does have some weaknesses there to be mindful of. And next we got Kiwior, Arsenal centre back. This guy, I think ultimately he's just not a great centre back. He's not got any glaring weaknesses, but he lacks skills. He doesn't have many defensive skills. There's things like interception and man marking that you really like to have your centre backs to have. You can't put skills on a player of the week card, so you can't add any to him. Same thing with Under. I would love to be able to put one touch pass and through passing on him to make him more effective AMF, but likewise you can't add skills to these cards. So this guy is lacking in skills. You look around his attributes here, he's kind of okay everywhere. You know, the pace is decent. Physically, he's quite strong. He's not bad in the air. Stamina is excellent, to be fair, for a centre-back. But then you look down here, the key attributes for a centre-back. He's just not great. There are no glaring weaknesses, but he's just not great. 82, 82, 87 for aggression. Okay, he's aggressive, but then 83 again. Just not particularly strong as a centre-back. He's fairly tidy on the ball for a centre-back, to be fair. But ultimately, this guy, without any glaring weaknesses, but just not particularly strong, and I don't think many people are going to like this card unless you're Polish or you support Arsenal, to be honest. He's just not the best. And next we have Noah Lang. Can play a bunch of positions. They've got him down as a roaming flank, left midfield, but like I say, you can play a bunch of positions. You can basically play wide left, wide right, or through the middle as an attacking player. Not centre forward though. Look at his skills here, some dribbly stuff, but really in terms of end product, it's through passing and pinpoint crossing, and that's it. So based on his skill set, he's a creator. But then you look at his attributes, you come over here, based on his attributes, he's more of a finisher than a creator. So what's he really be best at? Because his passing doesn't look great, and that, you know, through passing and pinpoint crossing will supplement these attributes a bit, but I'm not sure to what extent. Finishing 85, again, you know, he doesn't have the skills to back that up, but that is pretty high. So he's got a shot on him. Pretty good on the ball, especially with the dribbling. Fairly decent pace. He's not electric pace, but pretty quick, and then balance is pretty good. I think really this is a guy who could do a job for you pretty much across the attack. I think out wide probably is where he's best. But yeah, left, right, or through the centre. That through passing and pinpoint crossing will, like I say, compensate for the fact his passing attributes aren't the best. And that 85 finishing, I think you're really going to want to get this guy into shooting positions to take chances for you, because that's a very good attribute for finishing. And he's quick and good on the ball. So yeah, tidy player. Could be pretty useful for a lot of people, but like I say, it's hard to know what he's really best at, because the passing doesn't quite match up to his skill set. But he's got a shot on him, he's quick, he's good on the ball, so yeah, could be a decent one to have. Next we have a very interesting card, Ivan Perisic. So they've got him down as a defensive fullback. I'd have said, based on watching the games that Croatia played, he was more of an offensive fullback, but what do I know? So defensive fullback it is. He's very interesting. You start with his skill set. For shooting, he's got long range curl, long range shooting, and then for creating chances, one touch pass and pinpoint crossing, and then on top of that, heading there and acrobatic finishing to get in the end of crosses. So he's got some great skills going forward, but then defensively as well, interception and blocker. Very interesting that they've added those to him. And then icing on the cake as far as his skills go, super sub as well. You look at his positions: left back, left wing, right wing, and an SS as well. He can play a bunch of positions. So then when he comes with attributes, decent pace. He's not got electric pace, but decent pace. physical contact 78, jumping 85, heading 85. He's pretty tidy in the air. He's not going to be a beast in the air, but he's decent in the air. And he's 6'1" as well. He's got the heading skill, so you get him on the end of crosses, he could be pretty potent for you. Great stamina. Defensively, they're not great stats. He's not terrible defensively, but for me personally, I would not play this guy as a left back. Especially if his play style is defensive fullback. He's going to be staying back. He won't be getting forward much. He's not great at defending. So I would only use him as a left back in an emergency. But then you come down to the left-hand side with the more offensive stats. Offensive awareness 75 is okay. It's not great, but he's pretty tidy on the ball. 79 low pass, again, it's not brilliant, but you can get away with that, especially when you bear in mind that for lofted pass, we've got 87. So remember, pinpoint crossing is one of his skills. 87 lofted pass, 79 curl, 86 kicking power. This guy's got a very good cross on him. And then, again, we saw 85 heading, 79 for finishing. So his finishing, it's not brilliant, but it's not bad. So bearing in mind, this guy's very two-footed as well. Perisic, for me, could do a really good job wide left, wide right, or as an SS as well. He's an interesting one. He can get on the end of crosses. He can deliver crosses. He's got a decent shot on him as well. And the fact he's got super sub. And also, it's really interesting that he's got interception and blocker. And if you play him in one of those attacking positions, those defensive stats are actually good for an attacking player. Coupled with interception and blocker, this could be a really interesting card to have. And I think the word with this guy is useful. The fact he's got a bunch of positions and super sub, really useful player. The versatility, a load of different skills and strengths in different areas. I'd be very, very happy if I got this guy. And yeah, like I say, I think he could be very effective wide left, wide right, or as an SS as well. Really good card, that. Then we have our goalkeeper. Not a great deal to say about this guy. He's just a good keeper. He's not outstanding anywhere. The best attribute he's got is his reach. He's 6'3", so at 88 for goalkeeper reach, he's going to cover a lot of the goal. But 85, 81, 83, 85 is just solid, really. He's not spectacular, he's just solid. Jump 77 is not brilliant, but he's fairly tall though, so that kind of makes up for that. Ultimately, I think this guy is just a good option to have, really, just to add to your goalkeeping options. There's nothing really outstanding about him, not a lot to really say, just a good keeper. And then Camavinga, again, not a great deal to say here. It's just another Camavinga. It's the usual orchestrated play style, centre mid. Again, he can play left back, but he's not quick enough to play left back, so I wouldn't even consider that. Beyond that, I don't see anything really outstanding about him compared to his other cards. He's kind of got okay pace. He's all right physically, and stamina could be a bit higher, but it's not terrible. Defensively, he's okay, tidy on the ball, very good passing, one-touch pass, weighted pass, track back, interception. It's just another Camavinga card, to be honest. There's nothing really that different about this card. If you don't have a Camavinga already and you like him, you'll be very happy with this guy because he's a very good centre midfielder. But if you've got a decent Camavinga card already, there's not really much about this card to get excited about. And we have another Chiesa card. The last one was a centre forward, but now I'm back to a prolific winger. This guy basically is just for me, he's just a straight up wide left forward. Skill set, long range curler, super sub, great pace, decent balance and stamina. Great dribbling, very good offensive awareness. He's got to that 80 mark, which is nice. Passing's not brilliant, but then finishing 80 is pretty good. For me, he's just going to play wide left. He's going to cut inside onto his right foot. And he's got a finish on him, long range curlers and just shooting in general. I think that's really the way you're going to use him. You could get away with using him as an SS. You could play him wide right if you want, but I think ultimately wide left, he's just a real straightforward wide left forward, coming inside, getting into shooting positions. Could be a very effective one, and the fact he's got super sub as well means you could have a really tidy option off the bench as well with him. And to the left we have Bruno Fernandes. Now this is a really, really strong card. Even as someone who hates Bruno Fernandes, because I can't stand him, but this card is really, really good. He can play defensive mid, centre mid, or attacking mid. They've given him the orchestrated play style, so keep in mind with that orchestrated play style, if you play him at DMF or CMF, he will play as an orchestrator and he won't make many attacking runs. So keep that in mind. But if you play him as an AMF, then his play style won't be active anymore. So he will make more attacking runs. And then he can really make the most of what he's got going forward. And what he's got going forward is a lot. 88 offensive awareness is fantastic. He's great on the ball. Brilliant passing. Good finishing as well. And when you look over at his skills, long range shooting. So he can shoot from long range as well as inside the area. Great from set pieces. Again, looking at his skills, that first time shot, one touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing. He's got end product for days. But also, defensively, they made him pretty decent. 80, 80, 82. 71 is not brilliant for defensive engagement, but he's got 80 plus for the other three. They've also given him interception. Track back helps as well from midfielder. Physically, he's never going to be strong. Bruno Fernandes isn't that strong physically. He's not got great pace. Kicking power is great, but then physical contact is pretty weak. Balance isn't the best, but could be worse. You're going to want to be careful when you're carrying the ball with him, basically, because he's not strong enough to fend off challenges from strong defensive midfielders and defenders. But great stamina as well there. So, yeah, keep in mind he's physically somewhat weak, but beyond that, this is a hell of a card because he can play DMF, CMF, AMF, and he's got a whole load of skills and attributes here to make him very effective in all three of those roles. So yeah, as long as you don't hate this guy like I do, I would imagine you'll be delighted to get this card because this is a really, really good card. And then lastly, another very interesting one, Alexander-Arnold. They've made him a centre mid and they've made him a box-to-box. So, starting with the skills, one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing. This guy has got fantastic passing. 88 low pass, 93 lofted pass. This guy is going to create chances for you. He also has track back, interception, acrobatic clearance, so some defensive skills. And then down the middle, defensively, he's not brilliant, but for a box-to-box, he's okay. His pace is decent. Physical contact and balance aren't the best. Something to keep in mind. Great stamina, though. But looking at that physical contact and balance, you go over to the left-hand side here. Ball control is pretty decent, but 78 for dribbling and tight possession. When you're carrying the ball with this guy, you're going to have to be very careful because he's not been the most maneuverable and he's not the strongest. So be careful carrying the ball with him because I feel like you could get dispossessed quite easily. But if you do get rid of the ball quick enough, he's got fantastic passing, as I mentioned before. And he's got one-touch pass as well, so you can release the ball pretty quickly when you get it. Great stamina. Like I say, he's, as you'd expect, great set pieces. But yeah, as a box-to-box midfielder, this guy is really useful. And I think it comes down to how you use him and who you play alongside him in midfield. As long as you've got at least one midfielder who's doing the bulk of the defensive work, so you can focus on this guy's end product. Similar to Bruno Fernandes, his end product is fantastic. He's going to create goals for you. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're going to love getting this card. Yeah, could be a very, very effective box-to-box for you. End product for days. So there you go. That's an interesting selection. As always, there's a few dodgy ones, a real mixture, but I think there's some pretty good ones in there. So on the whole, that's a pretty good selection for me. So hopefully you found that useful. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you next time.